This is Photograph by Nickleback, and the first thing we're going to do is go through all the chords you're going to need to play the song, and then we're going to put them together. There's two different guitars in this one, and one has a capo on the 1st fret, the other one has a capo on the 9th fret. And what we're going to do here is learn all the chords in the open position so that we can transfer them to those frets later. The first chord we're going to look at is D. And by the way, I'm doing them in the order that they come along in the song. To create a D, we use our first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, second finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and third finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And we go ahead and play it from the 4th string down. It should sound like that. Next up is A. To create an A, we have all three of these fingers working together, and we're going to place them on the 2nd fret, 1st finger 4th string, 2nd finger 3rd string, and 3rd finger 2nd string. It should sound like that. Next we have C. To make a C, use your 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, 2nd finger on 2nd fret of the 4th string, and 3rd finger on 3rd fret of the 5th string. For this one we strum from the 5th string down. Should sound like that. And then we have a G5 chord, which is your 3rd and pinky working together on the 2nd string and 1st strings on the 3rd fret. Your 1st finger comes over here to the 2nd fret on the 5th string, and your 2nd finger comes to the 3rd fret on the 6th string. Should sound like that. Next up we have F. And the way we're going to do this one is use our 1st finger across all of the strings, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then 3rd and pinky working together to get the 5th string and 4th string both on the 3rd fret. Just like that. Now there's one other chord shape you'll need to know, and that one takes place up here on the 9th fret, right up here. But we're going to learn it down here in this position, down on the 1st fret, for the sake of simplicity. And what we're going to do here is take our 3rd finger and put it across the 4th string, 3rd string, and 2nd string. Kind of hyperextend it like this, so we can catch all those notes. And then stretch our 1st finger back to the 1st fret on the 5th string. Now this is a movable chord. That's why it works well up here on the 9th fret. And the root note is basically the name of the note on the string that your 1st finger's on, which is always the 5th string. For example, this is a B flat note, so this is a B flat chord. And if you don't know your notes that well, I'm sure Rock Guitar Power has a video out there to help you out and learn them a little better. So there we have it. There's our chord shapes that we're going to need to know for this song. Let's go ahead and start learning the verses. Okay, it's time to go over the verse. You'll notice I have my capo here on the 1st fret. So all of our chords just kind of move up 1 fret. That means your index finger is usually going to be on the 3rd fret, with the exception of C, where it'll be on right here on the 2nd fret. So here's what this is going to look like. We're going to have D to A to C to G5, and that's going to be our verse pattern. Again, that's D, A, C to G5. And that's going to repeat several times until we get to a transition that looks like this. It's going to go from F to G. And we'll go over that transition a little more closely, but for now we're just going to worry about the chords, and we'll go over the strum too in the future. I'm going to zoom in on my right hand so you can watch that closely, but for now we're just going to worry about the chords. So there you have it. There's the verse. As I said, it's just the D, A, C, G5 thing repeated over and over. Maybe you can work those chord changes up to speed and play along with it. Alright, here's the transition to the song. It's just going to go out of the verse with an F chord to G. That's F to G. And the way this kind of rolls out is we do our verse the last time through. Then do our F to G. So there we go. There's the transition between the verse and the chorus a couple times. Have fun with that. Okay, now it's time to work on the second guitar part. We have our capo up here on the 6th fret. And we'll go through the chord shapes. You're going to need to know that for that one in order. It all starts in an A chord shape, which is going to put your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers way up here on the 8th fret. So you really got to squish them in there. And then we move to an E shape, which I may have forgotten. I think I overlooked that one during the chord part of the song in the first segment of the video, so let's go over that real quick right now. To create the E chord, in this case, you're going to have your 1st finger on the 7th fret on the 3rd string, and then these 2 fingers, your 2nd and 3rd, are going to work together on the 5th string and the 4th strings, both being on the 8th fret, and we strum all of the strings for this one. After that, we have our G shape to D. And this is repeated just like the chord progression in the verse was repeated for the first guitar. So in other words, we're looking at A, E, G, to D. One more time. A, E, G, to D. And in our transition, we're going to go to F sharp, which is up here on the 9th fret. That's the chord where you have to hyperextend your 3rd finger that I showed you earlier, just with our root on the 9th. And then back to our D shape. So again, the transition is 9th fret and back to D shape. So there's our second guitar for the verse. When you put them together, they sound pretty sweet. Choose which one you like best and play that one and go from there. Here comes the chorus. Now that we've gone over the first 2 guitar parts for the verse, I just want to show you one 3rd little ornamental part before we get to the chorus. It's based on a D chord, and it's just 2 notes over and over. It just adds a little more depth to the recording. And it sounds like this. I think you get the idea. So there's the kind of ornamental part to the song. We'll go over the picking for that too when I do the strum part of the lesson. Let's move along. Okay, this is the strum to the song, and you'll want to keep an eye on my right hand here because that's where all the action is. Beginners are going to love this. This is an easy one. Basically what we're going to do is something that sounds like this. I'm doing there is just a series of down strums. Down, 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 and then I throw in a couple down ups. Down, up, down, up. So we have down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. All of the chord changes for your left hand fall on downstrokes. Here comes a change, downstroke. Change, downstroke. Change, down. Down. So you see how that works. The only tricky thing is when you do the down ups, you have to kind of keep the chord change clean. As you see, I kind of threw in one open string strum there while I was switching. And that's the cool thing about open strings. They tend to ring out a little bit, and in the case of this song, the strum goes so fast that the listener doesn't really catch the fact that there's a couple kind of stray open strings filling out the space during the chord switch. Here it is again. Hear those? So when you're doing this kind of a chord change and this kind of a strum together, you can't help but get those open strings in there. And the way Nickleback does it is they just kind of use those strings to sustain the chords and create the illusion to the listener that they're actually switching the chords faster than they really are. So keep that in mind when you coordinate the right and left hands, and happy strumming. Alright, here's the chorus to the song. For this one, we're going to use something called power chords. They're similar in nature to the F we studied earlier and also the B flat in that they're movable chords. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to take the lowest three strings of our movable F chord. Those being the 6th, 5th, and 4th string. We're going to use our first finger on the 6th string and then our 3rd and pinky on the 4th string. Right now I'm up here on the 6th fret. That's going to be where the whole chorus starts. And what we're going to do is start with our root on the 5th string. When we do that, we use first finger on 6th fret, 5th string, and then 3rd and pinky are coming over to 8th on the 4th and 3rd strings. Looks something like this. Sounds like that. So that's our movable chord we're going to use throughout the chorus. Now, in the chorus, the chord names would actually be the same as they were during the verse, based on the thing that I spoke of earlier. If you know your notes on the guitar, this would be an E flat to say a B flat, to a C sharp, D flat, to G sharp, or A flat. And then when we put our chords in it, those would be the names of the corresponding chords. And here's our pattern. We're going to start with the 5th string root on the 6th fret and do 2 of those. Move it over one set of strings. Then the 4th. Then the 4th on the 6th string. Now there is another strum you can use that they kind of use in the song for this. It's like, and what I'm doing there is, if you can see my right hand here, keep an eye on that. I'm going down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. Pretty easy strum, and when you do strum it, you're only going to strum the 3 strings that your fingers are on. And don't strum the others or kind of mute them with the edge of your fingers on your left hand. Okay. back to our chorus. That's the order of the chords that repeat themselves over and over in the chorus. At the end of it, there's a transition similar to what we saw in the transition to the verse. We're going to start on 2nd fret and then move to 4th. Again, for the transition, it's 2nd to 4th, and that's after we do the main chord change several times. I'll play it along with the music here so you can get an idea of what it looks like as the music plays, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Okay, you may have noticed there's a little kind of ornamental extra guitar in the chorus. It goes like this. Just kind of repeats itself. It's the same exact guitar part we saw in the verse. Basically your first finger on the 3rd fret and 2nd finger on the 4th fret on the 3rd string and 2nd strings during the chorus, because we're kind of operating without the capo. And the picking of it is going to look like this. You're going to go 2nd string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd string. And it's as simple as that. You just play it over the other parts of the chorus, and it should sound great. Okay, if you listen to the song closely, you may notice there's a very soft guitar fill or guitar solo between the first chorus and the 2nd verse. And it goes like this. And the way we approach this one is with our 3rd finger on the 8th fret. With this rhythm, there's 4 notes. Real similar to the chorus rhythm melody that the vocalist sings. Then we bring 1st finger over here to 6th fret on 1st string. 2 of those. Then back to our 6th fret note. And then 7th fret, 6th, 4th, repeated in that rhythm 4 times total. So it's going to go. And you notice I'm using a clean tone here on my guitar. It's because the tone on the recording is kind of buried in there. It's kind of hard to hear it, but it's more clean than it is distorted. Okay, well, that one's great for you beginner lead players, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. Alright, before we play the whole song through, I'm going to let you know how I'm doing it. Sound-wise, I'm using a Heritage guitar. It's a semi-hollow body guitar, and it has a pretty nice acoustic electric tone to it. So that's how I'm going to get all the acoustic parts using a Boss acoustic simulator. On the other end, on the electric end, I've got a Zoom 5052 guitar processor that I use to create the electric sounds, and I just kind of switch back and forth between the two. So if you're looking to play through the whole song and you know, want to sound like it all the way through, that's a good combo to use. There's plenty of similar stuff out there you can get, but that's the combo I use.